Today we're going to be talking about some of these Osram bulbs that we offer. These are sort of the novelty bulbs. Osram does not generally distribute these in big box stores or dealerships. You really just find them online, and some stores, leave a comment below if you know of a store that actually sells any of these, but generally speaking, your local store that sells auto parts will not sell these kinds of bulbs. Okay, these are Osram's premium bulbs, and they're really made for that sort of the aftermarket, the enthusiast market, and so forth. And one of the most popular questions today is which bulb is right for me? And we'll dive right into it. We'll discuss these three main options and talk about what makes each one special in its own way and what it's really about. All right, so on the left, we've got the Osram Lightwerkz laser, and that's the next gen. Okay, next generation, anything that with that next gen designation on it, essentially is the latest version of that bulb. They claim they're brighter, they claim they're better. There's a lot of claims on these bulbs, and it's hard to really figure out what it actually means. Like this one says up to 200%. 200% increase. You know, it's tough to say what they really do, but I'll give you my personal opinion of each bulb. The Lightwerkz, and it's been tested over and over again, third-party tests, our own tests. The Lightwerkz next-gen bulb is the brightest HID bulb on the market. These three bulbs here, they come in all different sizes, D2, D1, D3, and D4S, okay? There's no D5S. Some of these come in D2R, but D2S is the most popular for our retrofitting needs these days because most aftermarket projectors are D2S based, and that's really what the retrofitting market is about. But you don't need a projector retrofit to make use of these bulbs. The Lightwerkz is the brightest bulb on the market. That's period. There's no contesting that, essentially. Okay, that is a stock color temperature. It's a 4300 color temperature, 4300 Kelvin. So it is basically a replacement for your stock HID bulb that comes in the car. All the factory cars are set up with this color. It's the most usable color. It's the best color in the wet, in the snow, bad weather, fog, you name it. This is the easiest on our eyes. This is the brightest out of all three options here. And this is the go-to for anyone that needs essentially the best bang for the buck. This middle one is a revision of the Osram CBI. CBI stands for Cool Blue Intense. This is the next gen. Osram claimed that they've made it up to 6200 Kelvin. One of the biggest problems with this marketing essentially is that people get it and expect it to look like an LED color. They expect it to match LED. Guess what? It doesn't. It doesn't actually match LED. It's a neutral white color. Once it breaks in, it's fairly white. It's whiter than the laser, but it's not white like LED white. Like everybody these days is looking for that cool white, that modern white. It's not the CBI. The CBI is just for the people that want really good performance still, but they do not want the really warm color temperature of the Lightwerkz. You know, it says extra white LED look. It's kind of bogus because we got a lot of people that don't really follow us that purchase these bulbs, and then they question, hey, why does it look kind of warm? Why does it look like the same color as what I'm replacing? Here's the thing with HID bulbs. As they age, they color shift. As they color shift, they start fading out. They start losing their intensity. So let's say you've had a bulb in there for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And at this point, it's really like, it's just dim, but it is a cool white color. It's essentially color shifted. So you pop in a brand new bulb, any of these bulbs, the color might not be what you thought because it's all relative. Okay, so sometimes people put in a brand new bulb and it's even warmer than the original worn out bulb, but that makes sense if you're looking at it from the right perspective because the new bulb is brighter, it's not as dim, and it doesn't have that bluish, purplish, kind of pinkish hue to it when it's dying out. So completely normal, but don't get the CBI next gen thinking that it will be LED color or it's gonna match your LED fog lights or your factory daytime running lights that are LED. It's not going to be any of that. So the last choice is our Cool Blue Boost. Osram CBB. All right, when you see people mention these on the forums or pages, you got XNL, so that's Extreme Nightbreaker Laser. You got CBN, it's CBI Next Gen. And then you've got the CBB, okay, Cool Blue Boost. The CBB is the top performer in its class, and that class is a cool white color temperature. Osram rates it up to 7,000. We rate it as a 6K bulb, a 6,000 Kelvin bulb. It says off-road only because in Europe, technically, they don't sell these bulbs. They don't want people using them on the road. They're much stricter. In America, people use the CBB on the road. It kind of still flies under the radar. It doesn't look really any different than a modern day LED color. But if you want to match your factory LEDs, your fog lights, your daytime running lights, whatever it is, the CBB is your choice. I mean, it's the only option that has a slight blue hue to it. The other options do not have any blue hue to it. But it's not really 7,000 Kelvin. When we think 7,000, 8,000 Kelvin, we think pure blue light output. It's far from that. It's the only option in a kind of a modern day white color. And a lot of people like this color. If you want to fly under the radar, you get the Nightbreaker Laser. If you want something in the middle, you get the CBI. And if you want something that is brightest in its class, but you want that cool white touch to it, it's got to be the CBB. I mean, it really just comes down to, are you all about performance? Are you all about looks? Are you all about maybe a little bit of both? You have to pick what's important to you. Performance, we lean towards this way. As you move to the right, you lose performance. That's just how it goes. It's just how it's always been, okay? So brightest, mid, least bright, but even when I say least bright, it's the brightest in its class. So when you compare these to an aftermarket Morimoto bulb, CN light, Yiki, Heart Ray, whatever the case is, the CBB always wins, okay? Osram always is going to be better. It's going to be more precise. It's going to last longer. It's going to be more reliable than any aftermarket setup. All right, that's really what it comes down to. This is why we recommend these Osram bulbs. It's Osram Sylvania. It's a name brand. It comes in the factory equipped models with Xenon lights. This is the way to go when it comes to replacement bulbs because they will last just like the originals and you can get a solid 3 to 5 years out of them before you even need to think about replacing them. If you want to stay up to date on performance and maximize your intensity, then by all means, change them out every 2-3 years. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's a wear and tear item. Expect to change it out. All right, we're gonna do a little comparison for you and show you some of these colors, but we'll only compare 2 at a time because essentially it's really what it comes down to. You can't be comparing all 3 bulbs. They're not all made for the same user. Okay, so we're comparing the CBN, CBI Next Gen versus the Nightbreaker Laser Next Gen. Got the laser up top. I'll flip positions really quick just to show you the difference. Now, if you take a close look at the output, I mean, really, really similar. There's just a really slight differentiation in the shade and the tint of the bulb. Let's flip them again. All right, so we got the laser up top. You can see it's just a tint warmer, just slightly. We're not doing any lux testing. It's very difficult to get accurate results without, plotting this whole thing out. We can assure you that the Nightbreaker is going to be the brighter option. Even if it's 10-15%, it's still going to be brighter. There's not a huge stark difference between the color temperature here, but if you really study it, you can see that, yeah, maybe it's closer to 6,000 Kelvin, but Osram rates at 6,200. It's kind of confusing for most people because they're expecting a even more stark contrast. Once we compare the CBN to the CBB, you'll see the difference. I think that's probably the most asked question. CBN or CBB, the people that want Osram Nightbreaker laser are the ones that want absolute performance. So, comparing the Nightbreaker laser to the CBB is a little silly in the sense that they're not really in the same class. Does that make sense? So you shouldn't be comparing a cool white bulb versus a, top performing warm white bulb, but these 2 bulbs are compared pretty often, as are the CBN versus the CBB. So we'll do the CBB next. Maybe just for fun, we'll close out with the Lightwerkz laser versus the CBB, because that's a very stark difference. Okay, here we've got the CBB. It's fully warmed up. We're using Hilux ballast, brand new ballast on both. We got retrofitted G5 BRTs in a Land Cruiser conversion that we're working on currently. Figured we'd show everybody how it looks. Even the spread of the intensity is a little bit different, but that could just be a projector difference. So again, let's not look at hotspot. Let's not look at intensity. I will play with the exposure a little bit and show you, because then, you know, the CBN is certainly the brighter option, and that's down below. It's got a little bit of a more intense hotspot. But like I said, we don't want to compare intensities too much. It's really about the color. And now it's all relative. Look at the CBN. It looks yellow in comparison to the CBB. So if you're on the fence and you want some sort of cool white light, go for the CBB. It's really the only one that will satisfy most customers looking for that cool white look. We had a few customers that actually went through all the bulbs, tried them all out, but ended up with CBB because they wanted that modern look. And yeah, here we are. I'll switch them around. But again, you know, color temperature is really relative to what you're comparing it to. So you have to be real with yourself, and there's a different color temperature for everybody. So again, right now we're finishing off. That's the CBN versus the CBB down below. Down below, we've got the Osram Lightwerkz laser next gen, and up above you got the CBB. I would say just going off of what I see, I mean, the laser and the CBN is extremely similar. You know, if we take a look at the bottom right now, yeah, it looks warmer than the CBB, and it is. So, as demonstrated before, you know, there's very little difference between the the laser and the CBI. There's more of a difference once you step up to CBB. You know, you've got that cool white effect. But now the Lightwerkz laser looks really, really warm. And the truth is that it is. But by itself, let's take away the CBB altogether. By itself, the camera will adjust. And it looks less warm, really, than, you know, I think the camera adjusts to the CBB being in the picture, and now it looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks like a warmer white, but it doesn't look completely yellow like it does once you introduce the CBB. So let's put the CBB back in the mix. Once it shows it, you know, it kind of changes things. It's interesting how it works. But I think what it comes down to is, you know, you have to take a look at your performance, you know, your objectives, essentially, what you're looking for, and then see if you're willing to compromise. See if performance or color is more important to you, and then make a decision based off of that. Because all the bulbs are reliable, all the bulbs are top of their category in terms of performance. Just comes down to what you want to use in your retrofit. And what's nice about HID retrofits is you can always change the bulbs later in a few years if you want to be reasonable about it. But if not, grab another set of bulbs, pop them in, see what you like the best. So leave a comment below about what you guys are using in your retrofits, what you like, what you've tried. If you've tried some other aftermarket bulbs and now are using Osram bulbs, we'd love to hear from you, because there's a lot of customers that will, you know, they're still not sure if it's worth to spend the money on a premium bulb, but it always is. Yeah, leave us your thoughts, all right? Thank you.